Hello world, how are you doing? Mrinal here recording my second video. For those of you who saw my first Hello World video a few days back, you may recall that I was inspired by some wonderful people out there recording their life experiences and sharing on the internet. And as I mentioned also there, I was curious to see my own videos maybe years later, to think about my own life and seeing this as a video album. So here I am recording my second video. Um, I also mentioned there that I'm a software professional. I was born in India. I lived there for many years, and then I moved to the US. And today I want to talk about my life from the beginning to the time when I came to the US. And I would try to keep this type of videos about 10 minutes or under. And I would try to make them um, in such a manner that I don't have to reveal any dates, names, places, etc., which would be personally identifiable. Because I don't mind sharing my own details, but there are other people who may not want me to share their details. So, anyway, so let's carry on and let's have fun. And I hope you like what I'm doing. And if you do, please like, share, follow. And if you have any questions, ask me. Okay. So, about my life journey. So, as I said, I was born in India. I was born in the second half of 1970s. Yeah, I don't look that old. It is July of 2026, and you can probably calculate how old I am approximately. But yeah, I don't look that old. People say I look 10 years younger. Um, and I think it is because I try to take good care of my health, and so that's a good thing. For example, these hair, they are no color. They're basically the natural hair that I have. So good. All right. So I was born in Northeast India. My parents were teachers. My father had a transferable job with the government of India. And why I mentioned that is very interesting because he used to be transferred every 5 years to different part of India. And because of that, I got the chance to travel across India to many different places. And as most of you would know, India is a very diverse country. Every state is like its own country, but yet India is a country. Every state has its own language, food, culture, customs, dress. So, I got the exposure firsthand to, see so many different cultures when I was there. So it was wonderful, and it is important because it opened up my mind a lot. So in that way, I was very fortunate. So after living in the northeast of India for 3 4 years, my family moved to Delhi NCR, or the National Capital Region, and we lived there for majority of my years. I finished my undergraduation from Delhi University, and then I did my master's from Orissa, the state of Orissa in eastern India. In between, I had the chance to live in Maharashtra for about 6 years in the late 80s. And I also, currently, when I go back to India, I have a few places where I go back to. Delhi is naturally one of my places. I also go and live in another place in Maharashtra where I have a place. And I think what I want to say is that this traveling around different parts of India and um, seeing different languages, people. I actually can speak, I think, five Indian languages: Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, Odia, and some Sanskrit. And so, yeah, I think I would like to learn more languages, especially the South Indian languages, if possible. But here I want to talk a few things about my hobbies and about my profession. So, in my school days, I used to be a very good student. I was always in the top 1 to 5, I would say. Never under four, I think. I don't recall going under four. Um, and my favorite subjects were science, maths. But interestingly, I was also very interested in history. This is a rare thing because many people who are science oriented, they have no interest in history, or the other way around. When somebody is interested in history, they're not interested, or they don't like studying so much of science and maths and all that. But in my case, I had interest to learn both. The other thing, I didn't depend on just the school books. I used to read a lot when I was young, especially about history, as I said, and then science and others. Later on, when I grew up, I decided that it's better for me to choose a profession in science and engineering and technology because of the opportunities it opens up, especially because I was fairly good in speaking English, and it's a communication language for business. So I decided to go into science. But that said, I always loved history. I still like history. I like going to various historical places. And if you've ever been to India, you would notice that India has a rich history, and especially South India, where the temples are so beautiful. Um, so that is one aspect of my personality that I want to share. The other thing I want to share is that I have interest in subjects outside of just academia. I like music. I also, I would say, not a great player, but intermediate level player of musical instrument called um, karatal, and I also play Spanish guitar. Acoustic guitar is what I play usually. I'm trying to go towards electric, and I'm also going to try to attempt. Now that I live in the US and I see a lot of different music in US, I'm very interested in learning a little bit of blues, and I suppose I will have to get myself a harmonica or a harp to play a little bit of blues, and it can combine well with my guitar. Um, I also wanted to say that besides studies, I was also a person who liked to experiment a lot. Sometimes it got me into trouble. Um, I recall my father would travel to different places and he would bring me some gifts, let's say a calculator or a digital electronic watch or something, and I would take it apart and then I would try to put it back together. And as a 10, 12-year old kid, sometimes I didn't know how to put them back together, and sometimes I successfully put back together. And when I did put my electronic devices that my father bought apart, took them apart and put them back together, then it helped me understand the technology, how things are related, and it later on helped me in my computer science and electronics a lot. And so I was naturally curious. Um, and I would say that this also got me in trouble because in school, when I was, I didn't want to be just a bookworm. Even though I was a very good student, I didn't want to just be a bookworm. And I wanted to have fun, be in the sun, run around, play, get some dirt, mud, and all those things. Sometimes even fight a little bit with my classmates and things like those. So all those things help develop my personality, and I think it made me more curious, more um, inquisitive about things, not just in India but also outside. And I want to leave you with this thought that as I was growing up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, there was a lot of influence of the Western media, meaning I had news, books, and movies, and especially after the internet, which came around the mid 90s. And I would say that my generation, the ones so called Gen X, born in the 70s, 80s, they were very fortunate because we got to see the world before the internet and the world after the internet. And people who are born after the internet age, especially the Gen Y and Gen Z, they probably have no idea what life was before the internet. So it's interesting because our generation got that exposure, so we have a um, I would say so-called better perspective of the world. So that made me naturally curious about the world because the internet opened up a lot of possibilities. And I would say I never thought about coming to USA, except that I really liked USA's movies, books, action figures. So Superman was my favorite. Although Batman, Spider-Man, all those are my childhood fantasies, but Superman was number one. And I always had this liking for American cinema and American movies and music especially. And that naturally helped me become curious. And when I grew up and I had the chance to study computer science, and with the internet, uh, it happened that I had the opportunity to apply to companies outside of India, especially the American companies who wanted to hire Indian workers. So I grabbed that opportunity, and I was selected. I was invited to come here and work here, and it has been a wonderful journey, I would say. And I would like to share my life in USA in detail in some subsequent video. But for today, I would just leave you with the thought that um, I had a wonderful time living in India. I still go back there. I have my family there. I have family here also, but I go back and live in India quite often. And I have lots of friends and fond memories of India. One day I would probably talk to you about the Indian culture and my take on Indian culture, what I like about India, what I don't like about India. Similarly, what I like about USA and what I don't like, and I probably wish could be better. I will talk about those in some other video. For now, I hope you have some idea about my first half of life before I came to the USA. And if you have any questions, please send me your questions and comments, and I would love to hear from you. And hopefully, who knows, we can meet one day. All right. So have a good one and talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.